thank you all for coming out, first of all. We're really excited to host in front of the 12th man. We are primed and ready. I feel really good about where our heads are at. So we're just excited, like I said, to bring postseason softball back to Davis Diamond.
And if you have a question, raise your hand. I'll bring my Robert Sessa from the Bryan-College Station Regional.
Trinity, if I'm not mistaken, when we had the first press conference of the year, you talked about one of the goals was to host. Now that you're here, how was this team able to do that when the other teams you were on weren't able to do that?
I think just putting in all the hard work at practice and starting us off with the war games just made us closer, and then all the countless hours of putting in towards film, towards hitting, towards fielding, pitching and stuff. I think we brought that all together onto the field, and obviously we got what we wanted, but we want to keep going.
Go to Rob Havens from Aggieland Illustrated.
Howdy.
Howdy.
So what can you learn from last year's regional that can help y'all in this year's?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, we were playing some very common opponents, right? Texas State was there last year. I think for us, it's really just continuing to elevate the program. And last year we were really close, went to the regional final. But I feel like we could see some of the areas that we needed to improve. One of them was in the pitching circle. I think the other one was defensively. I felt like last year, if you look at kind of our defense and what we look like this year, we have tidied up a lot of things. And then the third thing was just our athleticism. I felt like that was a need for us moving from last year to this year. And so for me, I thought, when we went into the portal, we hit those areas pretty hard. And really the athleticism was what we hit in the portal hard. If you look at our outfield and our arms, that has changed dramatically. Lefty and I had some good but serious talks of just, I knew what she was capable of. I can see it. And she wanted it. And so last year was the first year when she finished season that she was like, okay, I can see this now. Like, how do I get to where this is what I want, coach? And so I think kudos to her for being vulnerable in that moment of being like, okay, like I believe you now. Like I've seen moments of it, and her putting in the work. I mean, there's no magic potion, to be honest with you. I think it's us showing them the way and giving them the tools and putting them in environments in which they can flourish. But I think, they got a little taste of it last year, and now it was like, okay, like I get it now, and this is what we're going to do. And I felt like their focus this year compared to last year, every single day consistently, was much improved.
Next question is from Kay Nagley from TexAgs.com.
For either player, how do you feel like the difficulty of conference play has just prepared y'all for postseason softball?
I think every game in the SEC is a World Series game. Like everyone can beat anyone in their conference, and as you can see, all 13 SEC teams are postseason. So I think every SEC game is a postseason game. So I think we're pretty good for our postseason run.
Nicole from KBTX.
For both of you guys, there hasn't been postseason play at Davis Diamond since 2018. So just what does it mean to you to be able to be on this team that made that happen?
I think we got asked that in another interview, and I think we lost one SEC home game, and I think that speaks a lot to who the 12th man is and how much they support us. And so I think being able to play at home in this postseason with the teams that we have coming here is going to mean a lot to us, and it's going to really help us. Sorry.
You don't need mine? I talk loud enough.
Also, Emily, if you would answer that too.
I think it's just really good to be here for the 12th man, and be able to bring it back is good for the university and good for our sport.
And then to coach, you played Florida 4 times in 1 week. What's it like just being able to play in a regional with maybe Texas State you're familiar with, but 2 other teams that you probably have not seen around this part of the country?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the way we kind of ended conference play on the road, those games were good games. Those that were able to watch it, we were in every single one of those games, and we were still in that game in Auburn against Florida. They've got a really good team. We have a really good team. I think what's really, now I can say this, when we first lost, I was not very happy. But they can see it now of like how close they are and what these little things kind of look like and how to execute it. And so like if I ask the team today, like, hey, we're going to go play Florida, they're like, let's go. And so they're getting it. They understand it. Their belief in themselves, I think, is huge. I think for me, to kind of go back on your question about what this means to this team, I think for me, like Trinity and Rylan and Shaylee Ackerman, those players that have been here throughout their whole collegiate career, one of your goals, I hope, when you are part of a program is to leave it better than what you found it. And without those three players, we're not where we are today. And I think their wherewithal, their ability to help me, to lead me, they've helped me just as much as I hopefully have helped them. What it's like to be an Aggie, they're bringing high-level softball back to Davis Diamond. They always knew that they could play at this level. They just needed to find that match and us mesh for them to do it. So I think, you know, kind of coming back to that, it means the world to me for them to leave this program after this year, knowing that they've left postseason softball here and it's going to be here to stay.
Next question is from Donna Conrad.
We're not taking yeah.
This one's for Trinity. Just to that, leaving the program better than you found it. How rewarding is it for you and the other seniors at this point to see the growth of the program and be able to wrap up your career or the start of the postseason here at home?
I was telling Rylan while we were throwing today, I was like, if you had asked me my freshman year that we would be hosting my senior year, I wouldn't. This wouldn't have been in my plan just because of how it was my freshman year. And I'm so thankful that the coaching staff has brought in these recruits and all these players to where we were able to do this. And so I think it's just amazing again. It's not only rewarding for us as players, but for the 12th man too. Like they've put in countless weekends coming to support us and stuff like that. And so I'm just really thankful and blessed that we do have this opportunity to bring more games here.
Ben Peck, KC and KX. For Coach and for Emily, how do you kind of approach this weekend in terms of, for you, Coach, managing the pitching staffs, and Emily in terms of just being ready for anything? And I know normally going into a weekend series you like to have kind of a plan laid out, but this one, not knowing even how many games you're going to play, who, and how do you kind of manage all that?
Yeah, I think at the beginning we're going to have a plan for the first, game or two. But I have pulled her aside this week, and I said, Lefty, like, you're our dog. Like, we're going until you can't go no more, and you can go. And so she wants the ball. I think that's, like, when you talk about the evolution of Emiley Kennedy, that's it right there. Like, she's always really wanted the ball, but she didn't know how to execute the game plan, and I think now she knows how to execute the game plan at a high level. So she knows. I mean, we've talked in great detail this week of what my expectation looks like going forward and who's going to get the ball, and at any point in time she has to be ready, and she's excited about it. I think that's the other thing. You have some pitchers that's like, oh my gosh, I've thrown every single inning and Emily is like, give me the ball. Like, I want it. I want to be part of this. I want to help this team, and she's not selfish. She's all about how she can help us win a ball game. So our pitching staff, I have really fortunate. This is the tightest pitching staff I've ever coached in my career. And so they're really encouraging. They help each other out. And a lot of that has to do with the insert, I think, of Brooke Vestal. And then obviously Emily and Shaylee, who've been here, forever.
I think just going into the weekend, just keeping my mental game where it needs to be, as why I've done so well this whole year, and I think now I really need it. And it's just go out there and do what I can do.
And then, Coach, aside from producing very versatile outfielders and sports reporters, what have you seen from Albany's program? Just obviously staple in the postseason, and just early look at the Great Danes.
Yes. Well, I said Donna's not going to be sharing any scouting reports, right? With no, I think they're here for a reason. That's really the big part of this is we have to come out and play our game. They have a couple pitchers that are pretty opposite ends of the spectrum. So one is going to be more of a up baller, a screwball type of pitcher. The other one's going to be a down baller. So we're going to have to make our adjustments there. They have a couple kids at the top of their lineup lineup. They have some speeds. They have quite a bit of stolen bases at the top of their lineup. But after that, we're just going to play Aggie softball. I think we're going to unleash Coco and our speed on them. That's going to be key for us. Our short game has proven really beneficial for us this last couple of weeks and just causing havoc on the bases. And then playing clean defense. And I think we have a really good shot if we do that. I think the last thing is pounding the zone for us. Like, we have to be able to come in and pound the zone. So we're going to come out and worry about us and how we're going to play our game. And I feel pretty good if we do that.
Okay, we've got time for a few more questions. We'll get some Zoom questions.
Oh, nice.
Sam Thornton on behalf of Justin McLeod from D1 Softball. This is for you, Coach. This regional is 4 teams that are all very strong in the circle and all have ace pitchers. How does that pitching depth, no matter the opponent, play into your scouting and game plan?
I mean, for me, it's very similar to SEC play. I mean, every SEC weekend, there's 3 pitchers, really solid pitchers, throwing 70 with 6 inches of break. So I think for us, there's a couple of instances in which we might go lefty heavy or we might go righty heavy, depending on kind of what those splits look like. And then end of the game, we're going to go defensive heavy because we're going to want to prevent runs at that point in time. But I think for me, it's kind of keeping things status quo. For 8 weeks, we've faced, I think, some of the top pitchers across the country. We've faced, I think, numerous All-Americans at this point in time. So we keep things really simple with our players. We're going to face, like I said, Jessica Mullins, who is one of the best pitchers in the country. And we know that. But at the end of the day, we've faced a lot of really good pitchers, and we're just going to kind of take it one pitch at a time.
Any other questions? Robert Sesta from the Eagle.
You have Tinker with your batting order, with the speed at the top, at the bottom. You've moved Trinity up and down. Have you you said game to game, but have you kind of settled where you want your speed? You mentioned Coco. Obviously, she got hot at the tournament. She was down.
Yep.
Have you decided anything on that, or you've gone Tinker with that game to game?
I'm gonna tinker. Yeah,
You got that speed in the 2-hole, didn't you?
Yeah, we put Trin in the speedster. I think it's gonna depend on matchups, and so yeah, we're gonna tinker. It's the great thing about our program is I can go up to Trin and say, hey, we're gonna lead you off, and she's gonna say, okay. I'm gonna say, hey, Trin, you're gonna go in the 8-hole, and these are the reason why. She's gonna say, okay. Amari's done that. We Kramer. We've had a lot of people. KP's been another one that we've moved up and down the lineup. And so I think we have buy-in with them. They understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. And so when you get that, they'll do whatever. They want to win softball games. They don't really care how it looks, what it looks like. The goal at the end of the day is to have one more run than the other team. And so they've bought in. When you think about like rhythm and how your lineups, with us, it's really not that, because we have so many people in our lineup that can help win us a softball game. That really hasn't been a thing where I feel like I've had programs in the past where it's like we kind of keep it the same because they're kind of have a rhythm. Our kids with rhythm is how to execute after the person in front of them. And I think that's kind of really special.